Hello and welcome to my Sunday chat. I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and this is my chance to have a catch up with you and chat about things going on in the world of the Bald Explorer. And as ever, I have here in front of me a sheet of paper which has all my notes on it. It's the 28th of November, Sunday the 28th of November. Tomorrow, actually, I should just say, is the lovely Julia's birthday. She is the big 40. Yes. She's 40. So this is a great opportunity to wish her very happy birthday. It's a big thing when you get to 40. Not that I've got there yet myself, you understand. I'm still only a pup. But anyway, happy birthday, Julia. I am sure that everybody in my viewership will wish you a wonderful time. So how brilliant is that? Now, I'm wearing a Harris tweed jacket. It's very nice. It's very warm and it's cold in the studio. Sorry I'm not sitting by my fire like I have been on some recent Sunday chats. I apologise about that. There's a reason for that coming up in a moment. But I wanted to thank Alan, who very kindly has given me this Harris tweed jacket. It was his father's, I understand, but sadly his father's died. And his mother said, that bald bloke who you watch going around the countryside, maybe he would like the Harris tweed jacket. And he very kindly got in touch with me, Alan, and said, would you like it? It's barely worn, it's barely used. And I said, that's so kind, thank you, yes. It's a little more roomy, shall I say, than my blue one, but it's very similar to my original one that I've got, which I do wear. And with a thick, warm jumper, like the wonderful jumpers that are knitted to by one of my lovely viewers, whose name now completely Mary Hammond. Do you know, just for a moment I went blank then. Mary, your lovely jumpers, it bulks it out and it's perfect for being out on a very cold day, so I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Alan. People are very kind to me. I don't know why, but they are, and it's so nice. Thank you. So I've got a list of things here to talk about, and the reason I'm not yet sitting by my wonderful fires in today's Sunday chat is I've got a video coming up for you on Tuesday. I think this one will be. I've got to edit it together, and I'm hoping my fingers don't give it away too much, or indeed my face. I've been cleaning my chimney. Yes, cleaning the chimney. Well, two chimneys, in fact the flues of the chimneys, with a brush, shoving it up there and giving it a good brush and getting covered in soot and all of that. And it's funny enough, burning wood is very different to burning coal. Burning coal, there's a lot more soot and you get much more dust. And actually, burning wood, not so much. I don't know, most of it sort of turns to a sort of tar thing and sticks to the side of the walls of the flue, I think. So now I'm slightly concerned about putting this video out because if you do anything that's I don't know, a bit specialist, and of course there are professional chimney sweeps out there and there'll be people who've done this. Everyone's going to do these things in their own unique way, and there'll be a right way and there'll be a wrong way, and I'm probably doing it the wrong way, but it works for me. It's worked for me for 30 years. But the thing is, people on YouTube, and you'll know this if you've run a channel, are very keen to show off their expertise and tell you that you've done it wrong. They'd say, you should have done this, or you should have done that, or why didn't you do this? Or it would be much easier for you to do this. On the bathroom videos, I've had a few of these, get rid of the wood, it'll rot, and things like that. And you just think, well, there's no need to be rude about it or abrupt. But I am getting thicker and thicker skinned, but it's also making me, I suppose, a bit wary about sharing stuff because people just shout you down, say, no, you've done that wrong, shouldn't have done it that way. And I know that some people get a bit precious about chimneys and flues and then make out that it's more dangerous than it is and you should do this and you should do that. Well, I am hoping very much in the spring to line the chimneys with proper lining. I've never had to do that before, but I do want to get that done because it will be a much safer and more advisable thing to do. So before people jump down my throat I just want to get that clear. I've never had to do it. These are old Victorian houses with large flues, and they never used to do that in the old days. So, and yeah, I know people did have chimney fires and all of that. I'm trying to put the caveats down before the keyboard warriors come in and just attack me. So, anyway, I've got this video to put together about me cleaning a chimney. It may be a completely and utterly boring video, so it may be all right. But people may, watch the comments. You'll see them. They just come out the woodwork. So I'm a bit nervous about that, which is a shame because I would do more of those sort of things. But I think if people are going to be like that, then you just think, why bother? Anyway, so that's a video that's coming. I did get covered in soot and I did get a bit of a blackened face. So from doing it. But it was a learning experience. I haven't done it for a few years, and you have to do it regularly, and I do, but it was fun. Anyway, let's move on from that. I had a lovely visit in the week this week from a chap called Kieran, who runs on YouTube something called Vintage News. He is a chap I used to know years ago when in my formative years when I was first setting out, before I went to mime school actually, and or was it when I came back? I'm just trying to remember. Maybe it was when I came back, and I was setting up the third floor mime company, and I worked with a couple of other people. And Kieran was one of the chaps who visited the area that I was rehearsing in, a place called Dance Industry in Littlehampton. And we used to use the floor space there to put our show together. And he would come in and we would have a chat. There was a bit of a gang feel of old, mates, and we all did our own things. And I haven't really seen him for years and years and years. And I know he occasionally watches my stuff, and he's gone into IT. Yes, you know what I mean. Internet technology, I suppose IT stands for. No idea. What do I know? I'm an idiot. Anyway, I've had this blip problem with my rendering. You may have heard me talk about it, where every now and again I get this little flash of a screen that comes up and says media offline. And I'd spoken about it, and he said, I'll come over and have a look at your computer. And very kindly he did come over, and he did a number of things. And I think, he's made it work a lot better and all the rest of it, although I did do a render the other day and the same problem came up. So there's something odd going on with my setup. It may be that I've just got to bite the bullet and buy another computer at some point. But in the meantime, I can spot them, so I'm going to do my best to do that. Anyway, that's by the by. The main thing that also I was interested in talking to Kieran is that he is into the best of Hollywood era clothing. Because of his Vintage News, he started to sort of wear what he calls proper clothes. And actually, they're very nice. They very much talk to me of sort of English. I mean, I know it's Hollywood, but he very, jackets and waistcoats and proper high-waisted trousers and elegant stuff, as well as a trilby and all of that. And it was fascinating to have a chat to him. Now, we didn't film any of this, I'm sorry to say. It was very informal, really, and I didn't actually ask him if he wanted to. So maybe, if Kieran's up for it, we can have a chat about it and find out how he got into it and why he does what he does. That would be an interesting video. But it was lovely, and I was asking him about clothing and the difference between what he does is he wears it all the time as it's just clothes, whereas I suppose in a way I've come through the theatrical route and always think of things as costumes. But there was a lot of shared interest on good proper clothes, and so I sort of do want to ditch things like denim jeans and things. I know that's very comfortable and they're hard wearing and what have you, but I'm trying to find the Englishness in my Englishness, and everybody has their own individual journey, of course, if they're looking for England, or their own interpretation, perhaps, is a better way of putting it, and I'm just trying to find mine, and I want to sort of get back to a style and a look that is, I guess, just at the end of the Second World War, for me, at the end of the Second World War, for me, is where England reached its pinnacle, and then we just had too many influences from all over the world, and it's got into a bit of a mishmash with jeans and T-shirts and hoodies and things like that. They may be nice and relaxed, but for me, it's rubbed off what the pinnacle of Englishness was. Now, you may disagree, you're entirely entitled to disagree, but this is what I'm looking for. I may find that when I do this and I sort of try and find the clothes that do it, I may find actually it's not what I want in the end. It may be something else. But anyway, we had a lovely conversation about that. But he also just recently got in touch with me, and he says he's had an idea for my walks. He says, if you're... he says, here's a stupid idea. He says, and I'm just reading it off the screen here. He says, if you were to use a geotagging app, he says, I've not used one to recommend, but one of the gang, one of you lot, presumably, will have. You could geotag the places you go to over a week or so and maybe run a game to see how many people can get to in a set time. Now, I don't understand what that means and what the sense of that is. Run a game to see how many people can get to in a set time. If anyone can decipher that and work out how you would do it, let me know, because it might make an interesting video and we can give it a whirl. Anyway, thanks very much, Kieran. That's very kind. So there we go. So that's that. We'll see how that works out. Nigel Sadler got in touch with me. He's just been watching my recent video where I've been out looking for the elephant trap, what I called the elephant trap. Now, it's interesting. I don't know where that name came from. It must have been a name that perhaps Peter Richardson, my old school chum, and I, when we used to go gallivanting about in this big trench, maybe we just made it up. It seems that nobody's come forward to say, oh yes, the elephant trap, that was a feature we remember in Den Park in Horsham. Now, here's the interesting thing. Nigel's been looking, he's been doing a course, so I'm going to show you a little video he sent me. I'm sure you won't mind me showing this and sharing this with you, in which he looks at a special type of map that just looks at the undulation of the land. And when you look at this map, I'll play it in a second, when you look at it, you'll see that the landscape has a very clear delineation. I can never say the word delineation. It's very clear a shape, and I had a conversation with him on the phone briefly after he sent me the video, and it sort of put forward a hypothesis, which may be complete bunkum, of course, that there was something there much earlier, possibly going back to the Saxons, because the area looks like an old burh, a bit like Burpham near Arundel, which was a place that Alfred the Great started to put people, or townships grew in these burhs. Some of them were man-made, some of them were natural escarpments on the landscape, in which towns and villages and places would be set up where they could be easily defended, presumably against the Danes and the Vikings and things like that, or indeed from other tribes and things. Yeah, so we're going back to the sort of times of King Alfred, which I'm not quite sure when that was. Was that 700 and something or 800 and something, King Alfred? It was just before Athelstan, who was really the first King of England. But Alfred the Great was on the way to becoming the King of England. And he came up with these burhs. And it does look a bit like that. So let me share with you this video and see what you make of it. If you haven't seen the film that I made, it's a place that I used to go when I was in my childhood. And it's this deep... Well, I thought it was a cutting that was like a hollow, sunken road. But possibly now seeing this, it may not have been. It may have been something built far more earlier, and may even have gone back to Neolithic times. Have a look.
Hello Richard, Nigel here. Just watched your fabulous video about the elephant trap, and I've just done some search using LiDAR maps of the area, because it did seem quite extensive. It's very odd. It's almost like it's part of a tumuli, but only the western section is there. But I'm doing an archaeological course with Aberystwyth University at the moment, which is rather fun, which gives me links and access to all sorts of different maps and things that otherwise wouldn't be found. And I've got this LiDAR program, which I can grab a section and then 3D model, as you can see. So the road, Dead Den Road, or whatever it's called, comes along here, as my cursor is showing, and then there's the footpath, or the old driveway that goes around there, the footpath that goes around there, and the elephant trap, which goes around there. So that's, it's a very distinct feature in the landscape. You kind of feel that there should be a complete roundel of something, but there's no real sign of that being there. Anyway, I did enjoy that search, and it was well worth the effort to try and find it. Some of those trees look pretty old that were stuck on the bank, so I would say it's got to be a minimum of 200 to 300 years old. But what purpose it was built, it goes off because the summit of Den Hill is about here, which it's pointing directly to, while the house is further down here somewhere, just off the edge of the map. Anyway, just a bit of fun. Carry on the good work. Speak to you another time, I expect. Bye.
So there we go. How about that? Isn't that amazing? That's amazing that you can look at the landscape in that fashion. And as soon as I saw that, I thought to myself, wow, that's an interesting shape, because it looks like you've got where the elephant trap, instead of being a roadway, which it may well have been used as a route for, I don't know, like a drove route for taking animals and things. But more than that, it looks defensive because of the steepness in it. Why would you dig it out? Because afterwards it has a natural slope anyway. So you've got the land to the west that just comes along like this, then it drops down a bit and it's obviously silted up a bit, and then it goes up quite steep in a similar way to Sisbury Ring. So it could be like a very early defensive site that perhaps there was some people living up there. The other thing is that, of course, it's now in the middle of Den Park, this Georgian house that was there. But if you look further back on old maps, there's Chesworth Farm, and then there was Chesworth Manor. And then and there's the remains, just a few remains of Chesworth Manor, which dates back, I think, to about 13 something or other, and was in the family of the De Brose family, which was one of the barons that was associated with William I. So it sort of goes back to some early time, and they were using. The Normans were using the places that the Saxons already had, because it was already established, and so they would sort of be taking over those. So the Saxons may well also have been taking over places that were being used by earlier people. Who knows? And of course, earlier people, Neolithics and what have you, in the Iron Age, would be using hilltops as defensive sites and things. So it's fascinating. So although I was speculating in the video that perhaps that was an old track, it may be that the track was actually at the top of that, because or it was adapted to be at the top of that. I mean, who knows? But anyway, Nigel said he's going to do some bit more digging on the archaeological side of things. There's a fair bit of history about Chesworth Manor. And the thing is, you know what it's like? If you've got a big family from ancient times, like the Normans in a place, because the land doesn't really get sold off in great swathes in those days. It's owned, by inheritance over times, and then someone else sticks a manor house on it. So you could have had the burr, then there was a manor house nearby, then the manor house falls into disrepute or into ruins, and then later the Georgian house at Den Park is built. But all that land is probably owned by a whole load of hierarchy of what would you call it, inheritance and stuff. And so the chances are all of that, you just follow all the sort of deaths and births and all of that back to perhaps a people who would have lived there. And it's just, to me, it speaks volumes at the fact that it's still in a defined Den Park boundary. So it must be something interesting. Anyway, the long and the short of all of that, sorry, get a bit excited in these things, is that Nigel's going to do some digging, and then later on, perhaps in the spring, we'll have a wander around Den Park, and he can tell me what he's found out, and we can go looking for certain features. I think it's open access. I think so. I mean, there's plenty of footpaths there, and no one seemed to be stopping me. The house itself is now a luxury flats, and the grounds are probably maintained by somebody, but a lot of people just wander around there walking their dog. So it seems perfectly fine to do that. So anyway, that was that. So lots going on in there. And finally, Mark English and I, as you saw earlier in the week, got together and had a fantastic walk. Lots of larking about there. Thanks, Mark, for that. And for buying me lunch as well. Very kind. Hopefully we'll be doing it all again fairly soon, perhaps in the new year or something like that. So something else to look forward to. I've got no set plans at the moment as we head down now towards Christmas. Just to say there's no more Bald Explorer walks for the moment until the new year, and then we'll hopefully in the warmer times get something together. The videos will be a combination of inside stuff and outside stuff. I do want to get out in my van and go places, but at the moment, nothing in the pipeline to shout about. A few inquiries and a few possibilities, which I've got in my mind to do, but in warmer times. So, and thank you for the various suggestions that you have been making. I very much appreciate that. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, and I do this purely under your supporting, I get some money from the advertising on YouTube, but it's not a huge amount. So your patronage is greatly appreciated. If you do want to help support, just go to baldexplorer.com and you'll see ways on the website there that you can donate if you want. Help me put diesel in the van. Diesel's prices have gone up at the moment, so any help is worth it. But the videos are available for free as ever. So anyway, thanks for watching my Sunday chat. Look after yourselves. Have a great week ahead, and I hope to be out and about producing more of the videos for you. Thanks for watching. Take care, and thanks for all your support and help. Till next time, bye-bye.